Hi, so I'm here to talk about how effective the combination of my main product and my ancillary texts are. So, to start off with, I think my main product, my romance film trailer, is really effective because I've conformed to the conventions of a romance trailer. For example, I've used emotive music in the background of my film, which sets the tone of my film. And I've also used a mixture of different shots, such as an extreme close-up, an extreme close-up of my main character's face, facial expression, an extreme close-up of hands together, a wide shot, an over-the-shoulder shot showing the disequilibrium between my two main characters. And I've also used a heterosexual couple, which is a very stereotypical thing to do for a romance film. So yeah, I think I've really conformed to that. Um, I've also made my film really sort of relatable to my target audience as well, which I think is really important. And having got a lot of audience feedback, the main thing that they've said is that because I've used characters that are of a similar age as themselves, they can relate, and so it's more effective in that way. So moving on to my first ancillary text, my poster, I think it's really effective because again it conforms to the conventions of a poster, a romance poster. So for example, I've clearly presented my two main characters, Jamie and Lucy, in the forefront of my image. I decided to use like a style model in a way to help me to conform to the conventions. So the way that they are positioned and the way that they are posed together, that's similar to a style model that I looked at. So it's really realistic in that way because I followed that style model. Um, Also, I've used a variety of different fonts on my poster as well. So I've kept the font of my main title, The Choice, the same as what was used in my trailer. So that kind of creates uniformity and like a house style by doing that, which I think is really important. Um, and the font of this is really fancy and elaborate, so that connotes to a romance film. Um, so moving on to my final ancillary text, my magazine cover, I think it's really effective, even though it doesn't conform to the conventions of a magazine cover. Obviously, as you've seen, it's very different because my image that I've used consists of my main two characters turned away from the camera, sat on a bench. So that's very different to what would usually be used as a main image for a magazine cover, because normally you see the main characters facing the camera. But I decided to subvert that because having used an image with my main character in the forefront looking at the camera, it didn't really, I don't know, it wasn't very strong and it looked kind of weak and it didn't really convey what I wanted to convey. So I decided to use this image because I thought it was a lot stronger, and having had some audience feedback, they said that this image was stronger as well. So I decided to use that even though it doesn't necessarily conform to the conventions of um, a magazine cover. Um, However, I also felt like even though they weren't looking right at the camera, as a combination of texts, I feel like my audience know the characters anyway because they've seen my poster, and my poster clearly presents their faces, and my trailer as well clearly presents them. So having this magazine cover with them turned away from the camera isn't necessarily the end of the world in that sense. Um, yeah, so also I feel like having used this prop of the bench in my image for this magazine cover is really effective because I've used it in my trailer as well, and I've also used it as my ident. So again, that kind of creates like a house style, a sense of familiarity with my audience, and yeah, I think it's really like iconic image, an iconic almost symbol to use to connote to romance. Um, so yeah, overall, I think my main product and my ancillary texts are really effective. Um, Even though I haven't like conformed completely to the conventions used. For example, my magazine cover is really different. I still think they're really effective and really portray the genre of my products being romance. So yeah, thank you.